everybody. Well, welcome to this week's podcast. We have Nancy Hinkle with us, and we're so grateful to have you here. You have been a part of our whole life.
As long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
All of yours and most of
mine
yours.
Since, I was 16 or so.
14.
So we're grateful to have you here. And so we'll get into that here in a second. But we always kick off with our weekend review across the pillars. Of course, you know your daughter loves these breathe, eat, move, sleep things. So we always take a look at that and how we did this last week, and you can include yourself in this. The breathe, what did we do on that one?
We've been doing our own meditation, working with clients and patients a lot on integrating that into their plans.
I've had already 2 yoga teacher training classes this week, so we love sharing all the breathe, stress management stuff.
It's a good time of year to practice that.
There's no stress during Christmas
during
yet,
the holiday.
right? And so, and then we've got, my practice in the morning has gotten a little bit better. Starting up a business gets kind of busy, so I've been putting more value on my sleep pillar, and that causes me sometimes not to get up at 5:15.
To do
so I'm
your
trying to get my
meditation.
7 to 8 hours every night, and that has helped my brain, I think.
It does.
The move stuff, I think we've rallied that a little bit more. We get motivated with like Thanksgiving because you end up eating a little bit more, and we felt like it was important to exercise, I think.
You skipped eat. We did a lot of good eating at Thanksgiving.
Yes, we
No
did.
problem eating. We didn't overeat though. I don't feel like we did.
No.
I thought it was
Tasted
manageable.
everything.
We went to Michelle's at lunch, and then over at you guys' place for dinner. Probably a few calories consumed. More than you could exercise off.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I tried we love green bean casserole, and so I did the whole 30
Oh my gosh.
this year instead of using like all the cans and the processed foods, and made my own cream of mushroom soup. It was pretty good.
It was very good.
You had me making mushrooms, onion rings.
Onion
with
rings
the,
to put on the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
The what flour? The garbanzo
We did
beans?
garbanzo flour and a little bit of starch.
It was good. They were tasty.
It was very good.
So it works.
Yeah.
There's a little change
ate
in the
well.
palate. It's hard to compete with flour.
Well.
It's so tasty. High glycemic index, so.
It was pretty good.
So all in all, I think we've been doing halfway decent.
Even through the holidays.
Even through the holidays.
I agree.
And I think it's good
agree.
to kind of maintain that
Yeah.
coming into the Christmas time, which you just said is like 3 weeks away.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming
3.5.
up. Must be
Yeah.
on Saturday.
It is.
It is.
So, oh wow. 3 weeks tomorrow? Really? Okay. Here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So we are hosting you today, and we're so grateful to have you here.
Well, thank you.
And so we're wanting to bring in people that have inspired us, and obviously you have done that.
For those that don't know, this is my mom.
Oh, this is it.
So maybe not
You
everybody
introduce
knows
your-
that. That's
who you're
right, Nancy
hosting
Hinkle,
today.
my mother. And it's true. I think when we were thinking of starting with those that inspired us to do what we're doing today, to have this wellness center, and just inspire us in general, definitely you are at the top of the list. And the biggest thing, I think, is the serving heart. I don't know anyone with as big of a heart as you, and that has spent so many just hours of service that you didn't even realize you're doing. And so when I stopped and thought about, like, what is it that inspires us, we kind of broke it into a few different areas. We thought of the service that you've done,
And it goes
and
on
your
and on the
openness
service
and
piece,
your
right? I mean,
resilience.
you take your day and you're doing something for somebody every day. I know you are, right? I mean, so of course we watched it. I remember back, Nancy, when was the Village Fair started? What year was that?
I think it was 88, 87.
wow.
So it
In
was
Lapel.
back in, I remember when you guys started that, and it
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is really cool. And then to watch the turnout, I would say in that first, I bet you it was just 3 years, it was massive.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, in the first year, it was like, oh, we got a bunch of people, there's a bunch of people, but then in 3 more years, it was like 3 times that.
I know.
It was all the way up Main Street, right?
Yeah.
Well, and you and my stepdad Herschel have been like you volunteer at that LaPel Community Association, right? Like
Oh,
you've done
yeah.
that for years.
30-some years.
And it raised money for that.
Yeah.
But if we were to paint a picture for everyone listening, if you take Main Street in LaPel, now there's a flasher light in there, so it can get busy at times. But that whole Main Street, you had vendors that would come in, right? And they would
Right.
pay the home association money
Yeah.
to be there. And you guys coordinated the event, and you had food vendors, musicians, people selling their products, whatever those got
Yeah.
to be. Anyone that wanted to be, they usually had tents,
Yeah.
right? And we had circus rides.
And we did it one time, yeah.
And the balloon thing, I know.
Games
Yeah,
for
we
the
had it.
kids.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun.
But it was, and then of course as locals, just walking up and down the street and then seeing all your buddies.
Yeah.
Was
Right,
that
I mean-
your vision, or who's like you guys? A small group of you.
Well, there was just a few of us when we started because we've laughed about it because now we have somebody that cleans the streets for us and that. We used to literally take our brooms and sweep Main Street before the fair, and then we'd have to sweep it after the
for sure.
fair.
30-some years.
30-some
So
years.
you were in your 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
I won't say how old you are, but wow, like that's amazing.
Yeah, because there was only like 6 of us. Now
Yeah.
there's close to 30 members.
Wow.
That was always cool to watch growing up. And then of course, you always had your friend, well, the family was first for you, right? So you were always
Always.
serving the family, of course. But then you had your friends, and I mean, to think of how giving you were with so many of your friends, I mean, if it was just being there as a joy-filled person in their life, right? And I know you don't talk a lot on the phone, Nancy. So occasionally maybe you would talk to them on the phone. That was a joke for you.
Yeah.
And then, but then even helping transition some of your buddies through the end of life.
Yeah.
And
I
so
was fortunate to be with my 2 closest friends
Oh.
when they died. And I felt very, very lucky to be there.
Yeah,
It was
well, a
beautiful.
blessing for them and a gift for you, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it was very big gift for me.
And you volunteered so much, like through our church.
Counting money.
I thought
Mondays,
this was
which is
interesting
now
too.
Tuesdays. No, didn't it change?
No, it's Monday.
It's
Every
It
Monday.
depends on the holiday.
And back in the day, and you can talk more about this, when you mentioned you volunteered at that Quincy house with people with AIDS, and
Yeah.
that was a time when people were
Oh, you-
afraid.
People were
wouldn't-
afraid of AIDS.
And you guys went in.
Father Jim started it at our church, and there wasn't too many of us that joined because a lot of people, like I said, were scared of it. And there was a place in Indianapolis, a lot of the families wouldn't have anything to do with their members that had it. So they had, it wasn't a hospital, it was like a great big house with beds and you know, people that didn't have any place else to go that were dying.
Oh my God.
And we would go down, and there was a lot from our church. There was a music group. We went at Christmas, and they would sing Christmas carols. And we got a guy from LaPel that he and his wife played Santa and Mrs. Claus, and they went. And you cried when you saw these people that were dying, and Santa would go, and how much it meant to them.
Yeah.
And we had
bet.
little gifts for each one, and it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, you touch people over and over and over again in such a positive light, you know. And there's just some people that don't, and it's okay, but they don't have that ability sometimes to give at the level that you give to others. It's so
Well,
cool
thank
to
you.
watch. And then the board of directors of the Madison County Convention Bureau.
Yeah.
That was just what, 1 year? How
3
long?
years.
Yeah.
3 years. And then when my 3 years was up, I could have stayed, but I thought, oh, I'm getting so old. They need some
Oh,
young
well.
people.
The wisdom that you brought to that.
Well,
Right.
it was fun. It really was. Because they always helped us with the community association.
Yeah.
You know, and that was one of the things, too, I liked. And was one of the reasons I did it.
So it was so cool to watch you across the service piece. And then the openness, and Amy, I
Oh my
know
gosh,
you grew
yeah.
up with this openness, right?
And I think it's amazing to think that, like, coming from LaPel, the exposure that Eric and I both got through you and Linda, just the openness to other avenues of healing and health, I guess, and modalities. Like, you took us to the chiropractor or the osteopath, and I remember we were talking about this. You'd taken me to Bernie Siegel, and for those that don't know Bernie Siegel, he's a physician. This was like in the 80s maybe.
Oh, probably.
And he was probably one of the most progressive. He was a pediatric surgeon, and he got into this mind-body connection and how
People
our
call it a
thoughts,
little out there.
well, and
Yeah.
he would
Yeah.
talk about how our thoughts can control outcomes, and he would talk, have people
Right.
envision like healing or envision lack of blood going to the
Today
area
we
of
call that
surgery
the
so that it
placebo
wouldn't
effect,
cause,
right?
extra bleeding. And so, yeah, do you remember
Yeah,
that? You had
yes.
you
We
took
went to
me
see
that
him.
talk,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was wonderful. So I think, you definitely were integral in just like opening my mind to this type of stuff. And then obviously there were 5 of us kids. And so I think just the openness that all 5 of us are unique and very different, and you just made that okay and allowed us to all be ourselves. And the last thing with openness, just the fact that we've gone through some rough patches as a family, and we dealt with some losses and some tragedies, and you made it okay to say, like, this is hard, or I'm not doing okay, I need help, I want to go talk to a counselor. That mental health nowadays, people just are very closed-minded about that, and don't seek help and don't talk openly. And I do appreciate that so much, because it made me know that it's okay to not be able to control it all, and it's not a weakness. You can go seek help or talk to a counselor, and
Yeah, well, sometimes we all need it. Like you said, we've been through a lot as a family. Most people have, but we have. And I think one of the hardest things about being a mother of 5 kids was I was the same, but all 5 of you were so different. To try to go and with the flow for each child. And that's hard. Yeah, it is. And you know that with just 3 kids, you know that. Yeah, they're all so different. And that's good.
I think the other thing too is the resilience. So I mean, when Amy and I were chatting about, so it didn't matter what was going on, Of course, joy. We can all be joy filled. But then in the struggles of life, you also found a way to keep the cup. It's half full or still overflowing. I mean, so it didn't. It was never like, okay, this is just it, and we're just going to soak in on this bad stuff. You were always, no, let's pick up and keep going, and this was done on a daily basis. So, as a mother of 5 and a single mother of 5, I think when you were even 8, right? And of course you spaced your kids out real far, right? You had one year, and then one the next, and then one the next year, and then one the next year.
Yeah.
And then I think Amy came a little bit later.
8 years. Yeah, little.
So there was definitely a lot of dynamics, when you have 4 kids in 4 years. Oh my.
Yeah.
That, but even within that, the ability to keep the joy and the love with the kids. I mean, I think that's difficult for many people to do in a family. And you did it effortlessly, and made it look effortless, which is really
thank
amazing,
you,
right?
thank you. I think some people are just born that way. My dad was that way, so evidently I got it from Daddy. Mom wasn't that way, but Daddy was. So I think that it's just
the Italian blood.
That maybe it's just in you, to roll with the punches, I guess.
Yeah, he was a great man to be around.
Yeah, he was. He was, and I was so glad that you got to be around him.
Yeah, it was cool to hang out with him.
Yeah, he was. He was fun.
I still got his cross. I think that he had at his altar that he would pray at, which is really cool.
Yeah, yeah, he was a good man.
Yeah, he did prayer I remember whenever we would go out there, of course he would always do the Mass, and then he always had a prayer time. He was almost like a monk, it seemed like. He had certain times of the day. I was like, hey, where's Tony? Oh, he's praying. Oh, okay.
You'd always watch the Mass every day on TV.
So what a commitment, when you're thinking
and that's what I grew up with, so, that sticks with you.
And so thinking of that, and of course there was some losses in in the family as well, and there's challenges with that when there's losses at a younger age or before you would like for it to happen. And
Yeah.
you guys worked through that loss as well with Randy.
It was hard. I lost my son when he was 30 and to suicide, which is hard to say.
Yeah.
It's not hard to say, it's just hard for people to accept. You know, I found out that I could talk about it, but other people were very uncomfortable when I talked about
I agree.
it. You know, and there's a part of you that you don't want people to forget Randy. I don't want them to think that that's all Randy was his death.
Right.
You know, so thank God my kids were all that way too, and we could talk and laugh about the silly things he did.
Yep. And
So-
hold on to those memories
Yeah.
that brought us so much joy.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he was, so I know we were dating back in 83-ish, and so I got to hang out with
Yeah.
him, you know, for a few years, so we were buddies.
Yeah, he was a
He was a great
neat
guy.
kid. Yeah,
You know?
and as the grandkids have grown, like Jacob, I could see Jacob when he would do things that looked just like Randy, crawling up the side of the doorway, you know,
Right.
standing on his head.
He could do a handstand up and over a car. I watched him do that.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was bizarre. I'm like,
Yeah.
God, Randy, what are you doing? He could do it.
Well, and you know, it's such a shame that he's not alive today because he loved yoga.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Back
I mean,
in
he
the
had that
day.
spirit, and
You're
that was
right.
so young.
You're right.
You know, nobody else really did it. And so it was, you know, he would really enjoy,
enjoy
you
this.
guys
Yeah,
doing all
yeah.
that and being in yoga.
So what is the secret to just realize that, I don't know, to being resilient and to not let that drag you down or not let that, not be stuck with things like that, like those type of...
I don't know. My faith is basic there. And so I don't know if that's what it was. You know, I mean, I know that I'll see him again. So, you know, that helps you get through it. And I know he's in a better place because he was so troubled. So that, so I don't know what the answer is. I mean, I know my faith makes a big difference in my life.
You're so in the moment with everything that you do in life. And I think there's so many people, they spend so much of their mind in the future, and that can lead to anxiety. Or they spend so much of their time in the past, and that can lead to depression. And for some reason, Nancy, to me, it always seems like you're just here with us right now. And so in this moment, we're, hanging out. There's not a lot of stress, maybe a little stress. With the cameras and stuff. But
not
really.
Not
And
really.
so, but you can be present with people, and I think that's your gift. And in that moment, I don't know if it's, for us, there's definitely the Holy Spirit when there's more than a couple of us together. And there's that unseenness that we fall in love with, and just God in general. But you're definitely have a spiritual side to you that gives you a knowing that allows you to have the faith to continue to just move it forward in a joyful way.
Well,
it's just
thank
fun to
you.
watch.
Well, thanks. But I think all of you kids have that too. I mean, I watch all of you, and when we're all together, how you all like each other and have fun with each other.
Right.
And that's all a parent wants,
It's playful.
Yeah, so someday when I'm not here, I know you guys will still be together, and that's real important to me,
Well, I think the role model that you were, it just naturally instilled it in us. I don't think you were thinking about it at the time, obviously.
No,
you were
I
just
wasn't.
being you. And we were talking about this the other day that, you use this analogy like we all have peaks and valleys in life. But when we went to a valley, it wasn't a question that like, well, that we were going to, how are we going to get out? Or no, that if we were going to get out, it was like, okay, how are we going to get out? And you kind of just would be like, this is life. Life is going to throw us punches. Not like, why is this happening to me? Oh, this is awful. You would be like, okay, this is it. We got to face this. It's not personal. It's nothing against us. This is just life circumstances. And so we have to figure out how we're going to move forward. And that was, that's just something that I really appreciate that you gave us these tools, because then when we have been faced with things in life, it's like, okay, this is what it is. And we're going to talk about it and figure out how we can work through this and move on, and hopefully we can teach our kids the same.
Right.
Tools.
You're a mountaintop dweller. You love to be on the top of the mountain. You're not going to find Nancy down in the valley. It doesn't happen. Not for
And just
very
making
long.
the best of what we
Not for
have.
very
Like
long.
I think we always have. We've always, I mean, when money was tight, we had so much fun going to Kmart Blue Light specials. I had no clue how tight
Blue Light special.
I didn't know how tight money was. You know, you just never.
It was so
let
funny.
On. We just
I know.
That little
lived
box
life
was
and had
exciting.
fun.
It had that hole so
Yeah.
you could see it over the aisles. They turned that thing on, and there it was. The special was right there in front
I
of you.
know. I know.
That is a hoot. I remember that. That was back in the day where they had little diners also. Remember they had a
Yes,
little diner
place
in
to
Kmart.
eat.
They
Yeah.
d- oh,
Had a
yeah,
little place
I
to eat
forgot
at the
about
back.
that.
Then you had to go past all the food stuff, right? Or down the aisle, they're wanting you to buy stuff. And then I think the other thing too, I remember, was it a year ago, we were like, okay, whatever we do, let's make sure Nancy doesn't get COVID. And of course, you were gifted with the COVID, and you made it through that,
Yeah.
right? And that was a lot of fun, I know.
Well,
you and Amy both. I don't think
Amy
it
was
Amy
was
was
there
more.
every day. I mean, I think I probably would have been a lot worse if I hadn't had her. So,
she's good
so
at
I was
that.
blessed there.
Well, I think back to that resilience, you know, your own health journey, you have an immune deficiency, you've that already set you up for getting pretty sick with COVID. You had just had 3 back surgeries in 15 months. What have you had total of 5 back surgeries?
6.
6 back surgeries. So maybe even speaking to that, like I know as we all age, there's going to be more aches and pains and struggles, and it can probably be a challenge
yeah,
and
keeping
frustrating.
the
Yes, and
joy
I
that
don't
you-
like it.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't like it at all, but
But I think it's just, again, that whole, I think you always
Positive
try to
attitude
keep,
amidst
the
it.
positive attitude. And
Some people
what you do
struggle
have.
with, they'll fall into the valley. They're
Yeah.
not a mountaintop dweller. So what do you say to people that are in the valley all the time? How do they get on top of the mountaintop?
I don't know. I really don't, Eric. I don't know how. I mean, you just have to do it. You know, you have to care enough.
Like
I
it
mean,
or not.
I think about you guys in the morning because I do try to do some of the exercises and ride that little bicycle, and I don't like any of it, but I do
But
it.
you do it.
I do
That's
it
what's important.
because I know I need to. And I think of you too. When I'm trying to do the breathing, I'm thinking, now, what did he tell me to do? That's the trouble when you're this age. It's like, I can't remember. Now, I do have a video of you and Lucy.
The chair one?
Yep,
Yeah.
the chair exercises and, you know, stuff like that helps.
That gets a lot of hits. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
one of our #1 videos, so people are watching it.
It's
kinda
because they
funny.
can do it.
so the
Yeah,
answer
I
is
think so.
just do it.
Yeah,
Just
just
do
do
And
it.
I do think, I remember you even telling me that, like, don't overthink it. You just have
Just
to
do it. I
You
know.
just have to do it.
And
Yeah,
it's not personal. I mean, I think you helped us with that too. It's what it is sometimes, and we're going to move through it,
Yeah.
right? Don't think it has something to do with, because of you, whatever.
What have I done
yeah.
to deserve
What have I done to
this?
deserve this?
Yeah.
No, just
Yeah.
keep going.
I know it. And enjoy life. I mean, that's one thing I do, enjoy life. You know, it used to drive my mother crazy when she'd come to our house because 5 kids, if they each had one friend, we've got 10 kids running in and out. And she would go, well, who is that?
And they better not open that refrigerator door for
Oh
very
my
long.
gosh, no.
Oh, I got scolded when I was out in Pennsylvania.
From Grandma.
Eric, shut
You
the
are
door. I was like, I
wasting
just opened it.
electricity.
She'd come to our house and go outside and sweep the front porch, and then she'd lock the door, the screen door. I said, Mom, you can't lock the screen door with 5 kids running in and out.
Oh, that's
Because
so
then they were
funny.
ringing the doorbell.
Well, they were getting the front patio dirty. They
Yeah.
need to go out
Oh,
the back
yeah.
door.
Yeah.
Probably.
I know it. It was funny.
There was always somebody coming and going at our house.
I
down
know
there.
it.
Or even sometimes you were always inviting somebody for a holiday that was alone. Remember,
Oh,
like
yes. I
Christmas,
know we never knew who was
Thanksgiving?
going to be there. It was so funny. One night, we had 19 there. I know. It was when Herschel and I started dating. We weren't even married. It was the early 80s. And we all sat down, and everybody laughed because once you sat down, you couldn't get up to go to the bathroom. There wasn't room.
Or dining room.
There was 19.
There was a lot of people in there.
Yeah,
It was fun.
there was. That was the
Lot of
year.
food, lot
That
of
was the
laughter.
year the pipes froze. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
We
And-
get the blow dryer.
Yeah.
out
No, Herschel
that
and them
one
had
the
to get
one?
under the house.
That was before Rick.
Oh.
Yeah, it was before Rick. And so yeah, so
Rick was, we made Rick do everything when
Yes.
he came into the family.
Isn't that's
I
one of
know
the
it.
one of the
Really nice.
son-in-laws?
and he wishes now that Richard and Cindy would move closer because
'Cause he's got more
he's
seniority than
still
Rick.
got the seniority.
Oh,
is
well,
true.
it's true. You do bring joy and you have fun with life.
Yeah, I do. I like to have fun and I like to enjoy life, and I want you kids to enjoy it, and you do.
We do.
Yeah,
Well, we're
you do.
grateful for your inspiration. That has gotten us to where we are today. And in this model of now helping so many other people, you know, to continue that ripple. And they say that, you know, that ripple that you're creating impacts the next 7 generations of people. And that was an Indian, like a native Indian, whatever.
Oh, really?
Kind of thing. So it's kind of neat to be thinking that that's what you're doing.
Well, I'm
And
so
that we're
proud.
excited about carrying it on because
Yeah.
of your excitement to us. So
Well, and
thank
I'm
you.
so proud of you guys because you care so much about people and about their well-being and their physical well-being and their mental.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
today, that last one's a big one. The mental
Yes, it
thing
is.
that we've noticed
Yeah.
continues to climb. And I think it's people need to be okay with, hey, I just don't feel right.
Yeah,
Right
or
now,
I
I'm
need
struggling.
some-
I'm in a
I
valley.
need some
and,
help.
and I think we got to
Yeah.
help people to be those mountaintop dwellers. And recognize when you're in the valley, and then let's get you to the top of the mountain again. Because there's one thing I think we all get into an acute valley. You don't want to hang out there. You don't want to be chronic.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Let it define you. And
Well, and I think
Accomplishment.
COVID's played a big part in
boy.
all of our lives.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like some of my friends, you know, they're just so upset. But, you know, maybe it's my age, but I haven't minded it at all. I mean, you know, if you have to stay at home, you have to stay
Yeah.
at home. We just figured out ways to.
Well, it was a scary thing because no one understood it.
Yeah.
But I think now people are getting to understand that, okay, it's another virus.
Yeah.
We've been around viruses forever. We're going to be
gotta
smart about it.
navigate it, yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
be smart about it. And if we have weak immunity, maybe there's a mask. There's some good protocols that we have seen that work. And at the end of the day, at some point, you might have it. I mean, I just had it, 3 weeks ago or
Yeah.
so.
yeah.
And I had a bad head cold for a couple days, but I'm still kind of got some
Yeah.
respiratory
Yeah.
stuff.
It lingers.
And
It
it kind of
does.
lingers. And then at the end of when I was like, okay, I feel better now, and then I lost all my taste. I was
That's
like, oh,
so
I didn't lose
bizarre.
taste, I
So
didn't do
bizarre.
anything, and then boom, in one day it was all gone. No
Wow.
taste, no smell, no nothing. It was bizarre. Like at the end of feeling okay. It was funny.
Well,
I
and I
know
think
it.
you're
But-
still
I
physically
still,
building,
I
trying
still
to
have
rebuild.
trouble. Yeah, my doctor said I'm definitely one of the long
Long
haulers.
haulers.
And the bad part is they don't know how long that lasts.
I know.
But my smell and taste, my taste isn't as, I can taste things, but they're not as good as they were.
Oh, I know.
But I can't smell.
At 3 weeks, I'm probably 50%, I bet. I'm like, okay, but it's not the
It's
same
not the same.
sensation I had before.
The thing I miss the most is my coffee doesn't taste as
Still?
good.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
sad.
I can drink it and
We need
it's
to
not
make
bad.
a dark roast coffee.
I guess we're going to have to do something because it's just, you know, doesn't have that
Yeah.
flavor that you want.
Well, we're so grateful for you, Nancy. Thank
We
you for
are.
being in our
Well,
lives.
thank you.
and
I'm
being a
grateful
part
for all
this
of you.
journey with us because this is inspiring what we're doing and our ability to help so many people.
Well, I'm tickled to death to be a part of it.
Yay. Well, we're wishing everybody a wonderful day. If you have any other topics that you want, throw them over. We're entertaining those as they come over. But we're wishing all of you guys a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Take care. God bless.